Georgie, Porgy, pudding and pie kissed the boys and made them cry when Uncle Harry came out to play. Porgy ran away.
The Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William and the Prime Minister were all assassinated today in a terrorist atrocity that has shocked the world.
Fucking ragheads!
Prince Harry fought off the attackers and escaped unharmed after single-handedly killing 6 terrorists that wiped out his family at the Battle of Runnymede.
The Queen was the first, one shot, bang, dead. Then PC, he was slaughtered next, bang, fuck, I hit the decks. Then it was Will's turn, bang, dead, ah, fuck. Shot in the order of succession, I guess. I mean, I scrambled for cover and lay deathly still, and I thought that if I'd even sneezed, I would have died. I peered through squinted eyes and saw raghead number 2 line me up and pull the trigger.
In an unprecedented outpouring of national grief, millions are flocking to Buckingham Palace to pay tribute to the murdered royal family.
That was it. My life flashed before me as I was about to be slaughtered. 800 years of history wiped out in 4 shots. What the fuck happens now?
All hail our sovereign lord, King Henry, by the grace of God, the 9th of that name.
Just call me Harry. Look, I can hardly believe that I've been called to this tremendous task, and you know, the curious thing is, I'm not afraid. When placed in command, take charge. Bang! I should have been dead, but his piece jammed. You know, I never believed in God Almighty until that moment. Then I realised it had nothing to do with him upstairs, but just a piece of shit Chinese Kalashnikov. Hey, remember, never buy fake. And as he frantically tried to reload, whack, whack, I knocked him out. In all the excitement, the twat left the safety on. Pay homage to sympathy. 2 shots to the upper body.
Behold the head of a traitor. Tens of millions of Britons have taken to the streets, and there are reports of continued attacks on mosques around the country as Al-Qaeda are blamed for the atrocity that has thrown the country into turmoil.
My chemicals were up. Bang! And bang again, just to make sure. Right as I slaughtered him, the PM was hit. Twice. Bang, bang. Never mind, no great loss. But you see how they have maddened me. I hardly know myself. There were 4 others, unarmed looky-lookies. Their mission turned somewhat for the worse. Ha!
The authorities have called for calm as attacks on mosques continue. Disorder has been reported in Nigeria, Pakistan, India, Canada, New Zealand, Fiji, Australia and the rest of the Commonwealth.
Akodo! Run for your lives!
Harry represents a new type of management style.
And run they did. Sadly, they didn't get very far.
Harry was hailed a hero as the details of today's attack became clearer.
I've been training for this all my life. Switch to auto, 1 burst, slaughter them all. Is justice better than injustice? Retribution? Tyranny? How do I feel? I'll tell you how I feel. Fucking brilliant.
In his first public address, Harry declared a state of emergency as hundreds of mosques have been desecrated, thousands of businesses ransacked and millions hiding in fear for their lives as anarchy and anger takes over the streets.
Fuck, there goes the kebab shops. British subjects and loyal citizens of the Commonwealth, I am happy to join with you today in what will go down as the greatest demonstration for freedom during this horrific chapter in our glorious history. There are those who wish to destroy our way of life. They are not soldiers in a war, but merely inadequates. My own and only explanation is that genuine goodness is threatening to those at the opposite end of the moral spectrum. There is no limit to the innocent lives they are willing to take. Endure courageously, millions. Endure for the better world.
Anger and revenge be forgotten. Our deadly enemy be forgiven.
My dear brother William, too. quite simply the best brother in the world. But I would say that, wouldn't I? The account of our misdeeds be destroyed, reconcile the entire world. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred.
Nationalism rears its ugly head, reports of disorder and confused street fighting in London itself. Retribution on a global scale continue.
The world is all messed up. The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land. Confusion all around. Someone has to be responsible.
Genesis of the United Kingdom. Genesis and order. Education of the Guardians. The dangers of sacrificing humanity for intellectualism.
Our way of life was under threat. Our civil liberties at risk. There are those that wish to do us harm. Remember, not all of us bat for the same side. The truth of the matter is that you always know the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it.
Cities across the Commonwealth fell silent as yesterday's event sunk in.
Your Majesty, we are in mortal danger. We are no longer an independent country, no longer a nation. We all blame the fuckers in Europe, led by the Bishop of Brussels, of course.
You don't have to consult the Chinese horoscope to know he's a treacherous snake. One mustn't get involved in politics.
I don't know why. She didn't understand. Such a shame. Just too old.
Justice of the elderly.
Likewise, PC. Look, it's all well and good talking to rainforests about insane biocide, but it's too late. We've left it too long. The place is fucked and something had to be done.
We wouldn't be the first species to wipe itself out, but what would be different about us is we did it knowingly.
I said, Grandmama, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that one seeks. History will never forgive us if we do not act now. Who can the world turn to? Nobody. It was left to me.
Her Majesty the Queen was laid to rest in Westminster Abbey today. Blessed are they that mourn.
I stand before you today, the representative of a family in grief, in a country in mourning, before a world in shock. We are all united not only in our desire to pay our respects, but rather in our need to do so. Such was the Queen's extraordinary appeal that the hundreds of millions of people taking part in this service all over the world via television, radio, and the internet, people who never actually met her, feel that they lost someone close to them too. It is a more remarkable tribute than I can ever hope to offer. We gather in this great abbey to mourn and to give thanks. It is a fitting place to do so. It was here that my grandmother was married, and it was here that she was crowned queen. Like the sun, she bathed us in her warm glow. Strength, dignity, and laughter. Three great gifts which we honor and celebrate today. As her grandson and reluctant heir, I can vouch for that strength. With her openness to people, indeed as part of it, came a quiet courage, a courage manifest in wartime, and a courage that endured to the end. Life, laughter, fun, and folly. Let that be part of her legacy, part of our tribute. Fun-loving, generous, down-to-earth, entirely genuine. I think of her every day. The Queen is dead. Long live the Queen.
Queen Elizabeth I of Scotland, deeply loved and greatly missed. Now straight back to Westminster Abbey for big ears, the second of three.
The 21st century is the century of the common man, like all the other centuries. That was Prince Charles's proposition. a man for all seasons who cared passionately not only about his own country but for the world.
From the Book of Common Prayer, Psalm 18.
He rode upon the cherubims, and he did fly. He came flying upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place, his pavilion round about him with dark water and thick clouds to cover him. At the brightness of his presence his clouds removed, hailstones and coals of fire.
Harry, we all care desperately for you today. We're all chewed up with the sadness at the loss of a man who was not even our father, a woman who was not even our grandmother, and a great friend who was not even our brother. How great your suffering is, we cannot even imagine. Prince William is up next.
Guardian, friend and protector. Finally, it is our chance to say thank you for the way you brightened our lives. Even though God granted you a huge penis, he gave you but a quarter of a life. There are days I will always treasure, transported back to our childhood when we spent such an enormous amount of time together, running amok with our beloved mother, a mother so desperately missed. Wills had not changed at all from the big brother who mothered me as a baby, fought with me at school, and endured those long journeys between our parents' homes with me at weekends.
It is a tribute to his level-headedness and strength that despite the most bizarre-like life imaginable, he remained intact, true to himself.
Initially, there is a sense of shock and disbelief that this could ever happen to you. I only wish it could be Wills making these speeches today instead of me. We will all feel cheated always that you were taken from us so young, and yet we must learn to be grateful that you came along at all. I promise to cherish your dreams and ambitions. I loved you so. Why did it come to this?
In a private ceremony, the PM was given to the sea. Now, we've got to keep attention on that.
I see a man grappling with the problems of the bankruptcy of his nation, and I knew that something had to be done to get rid of that cunt.
Polls show Harry has demonstrated the conviction needed to defeat terrorism. Looks like Harry has an overwhelming popular mandate and is the bookies' favourite to take over.
Consign to history the corrupt and loathed politicians, moneyed intellectuals with embroidered mouths. Need I go on?
Loss of individual freedoms and miserable corruption in government.
A sickness at the heart of democracy. The political elite have lost the confidence of the people, and sadly, the people are unable or unwilling to bring about reform. Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of the press. So let's get this straight. I did what I thought best. Through the undeserved luxury of the sperm lottery, I have the right tools to create a just and free world.
The whirlwind of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges.
The glorious revolution failed because Parliament had already established its military supremacy. That's why Papa insisted I join the army.
Troops on the ground, one with the people. For I dipped into the future, far as human eye could see, saw a vision of the world and all the wonder that would be.
Till the war drum throbbed no longer and the battle flags were furled. In the Parliament of Man, the Federation of the World.
There the common sense of most shall hold a fretful realm in awe, and the kindly earth shall slumber lapped in universal law.
That's when I decided I had to kill them all.
Embodiment of the idea, community, identity, and stability.
Pastime with good company, I love and shall until I die. Grudge you will, but none deny. So God be pleased, thus live will I. For my pastimes, hunt, sing and dance, my heart is set, okay? All goodly sport, for my comfort, who shall me let, you know? You must have some dalliance, of good or ill, some pastimes. Company methinks them best, the thoughts and fancies to digest. For idleness is chief mistress of vices all. Then who can say but mirth and play is best of all? Company with honesty is virtue, vice to flee. Company is good and ill, but every man has his free will. Every man has his free will, yeah, but will I am not. Hey, nonny, nay, no way. Well, there's a how, there's a way. This is Henry, call me Harry, not Hal. I'll be your ever-loving, extra good-looking pal. Harry, don't ask me why. Just grab me a beer and let's rock out of here. You know, with my mate Packy and my mate Novo and Chelsea, yeah, they're my company, my good company. Hey, this is a twiddly bit. It's Rococo, you know? Yeah. Feel it. Yeah. They're my company, you get it? My good company. Yeah. They're my crew, not my retinue. And you ain't invited, okay? For idleness is chief mistress of vices all. Then who can say but mirth and play is best of all? King Harry IX, feeling fine in 2009, having a mother losing son of a gun, good time. My grandma was fat, with a P and a double T, but now I'm where it's at. Harry, that's King. I'll spell it out, I'm the King. Yeah, know it, naughty girl. King, you get me? King, know it, naughty girl. La 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 la. Hey, it's the sing along. Come on, hey, grab a beer. Let's have a sing. Come on. La la la. King, feeling it.
Tell me what you thought of my music. It was my own.
And now, on this fine midsummer's day, over to Westminster Cathedral for the inauguration speech of King Henry IX.
Loyal subjects of the Commonwealth, today I stand before you as your king, for I have sworn to lead you all with the same solemn oath that my forebears prescribed in centuries past. But our universe is very different today. Globalization has separated us from years gone by and created a new world order, foreign to anything my predecessors would have known or could have imagined. Yet today we have a chance to create a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a very great civil war, testing whether that our nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.
The world will note and long remember and never forget what we say here. That from our honoured dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that our dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that my government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. I hear your pain from where I stand. I feel the pain where it hurts you most, but resolute we shall support each other through these troubled times. Today marks a new beginning, one of which we must all be a part. But today there is no cause for celebration.
The American boom has come to an end. The world of go-getting investment banks has gone forever. Their so-called wealth creation and profits were mere black magic.
Today, all humans hold in their mortal hands the power to save or destroy our species and our planet. Today, we must see it as our duty to act positively to create a brave new world, free of the past failings that haunt us now to the very brink of extinction. To heal this sick and weary world, we must accept that the dark, duplicitous agents of democracy and government have failed us. How much more suffering and how many more lives must be sacrificed to these false idols? The pain we have endured at their hands will continue until we change our ways. I cannot offer you a choice in this matter, nor have you asked for one. For we all know the consequences of inaction are dire. I have passed an emergency decree in order to counter the ruthless confrontation of the enemies of the state. Not wealth, nor power, nor the hand of God can save us. Only we can save ourselves. We cannot rely on hope alone to bring change unless we are willing to be the instruments of change. I cannot command you to change with mere words from my mouth unless you are inspired to change within your own heart. If you believe that humanity, your children, and theirs have a future, then look to the future with hope. And take on the power to change the world with your own hands. If you ask for our aim, I can answer you simply. It is a sustainable future.
Sustainability is the key.
Sustainability, however long and hard the road may be, for without sustainability there is no survival for humanity.
Only when man catches the last fish and chops down the last tree will he realise that money alone does not help a pilot navigate his ship.
The human race will only stop destroying the planet when it rediscovers the sacred.
Sacred duty to serve, sacred duty to protect. Look to the sacred.
Let every nation outside the Commonwealth know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure survival of our species.
Harry does not desire gold or jewellery or material wealth, but virtue, glory, and immortality.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. I figure I have a 50% chance of living to 150. But I wouldn't stop there. I figure if I live to 150, then I have a 50% chance of living to 500.
If you allow me to live just a few more years, I will be happy. Aubrey de Grey, the world record mice breeder, was anointed to the royal court today. Long live the king and all super-evolving Commonwealth citizens.
We of the Commonwealth shall show the world our brave hearts and that we shall never give in to hopelessness. Together we stand fearless to face our task, ready for the challenge and secure in the knowledge that each and every one of us believes in our cause. We will show the world we can sacrifice, that we will endure hardship, that we will go without, and that we can change the world for the better. We will show the world that we, the Commonwealth, will not give up on humanity. This change will not be easy, but it is our duty to pass the world on in a better condition to future generations.
It is our duty to protect our species and ensure its survival.
For those that have no stomach for this fight, let them depart, for they have no part in this cause, and we have no wish for them to stand with us. We shall have no pity when they shall fall by the wayside and perish. For those that will show their devotion to Commonwealth and Crown, I pledge my loyalty. Our path to victory shall be long and slow, but it will surely come. Our rewards will not be money, nor monuments, nor the graven images of Mammon. Our reward shall be to see the sun rise over our children, illuminating a world where we are not choked with our own waste, where the air is no longer toxic, and where rains once again fall and nourish Mother Earth and her offerings. As your king, I now ask for those with me to stand and cheer. Our quest begins!
Our Duke, Mr. Vice, the King.
A glass to the good spirit, if your principles permit.
With too much freedom, the people become drunk and tyranny takes over. The excessive freedoms granted to the citizens of a democracy ultimately leads to the furthest regressed type of government. The mercenary wicked witch of the East, that notorious cat killer, called for Harry to be prosecuted for the murder of the 4 unarmed terrorist suspects, as the leaked coroner report reveals they were all shot in the back.
It was a marvellous picture, but that's always the problem with a little violence. Anarchy. Dark actors playing games. Bring me the coroner.
I am satisfied that none of the persons whose decisions and actions I later describe ever contemplated that the coroner might take his own life.
The vacuum caused by our recent losses has created a void that chills our hearts and freezes our hands. But if we do not act immediately, Britain shall be buried by our sorrow and held lifeless below a glacial shed of tears. But I ask every Briton to take heart from the condolences offered by the friendly nations in our Commonwealth. People from nations of every colour and culinary disposition have called to tell us they share the same sense of loss and grief at the passing of my grandmother, one of the greatest monarchs ever to wear a crown.
Hear ye, hear ye.
O loyal subjects, I have called you together to make a very important announcement, one that will change the shape of our great nation forever. I have temporarily suspended both Houses of Parliament and detained at my pleasure all sitting members. 500 years ago, a Great Britain, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, began a lifetime's work on the Act of Supremacy, a momentous decree, a great beacon light of hope to millions seared in the flames of withering injustice. A joyous daybreak to end the long night of captivity. Rest assured, the prisoner's best interests will be protected by the friendly Gurkhas.
Remember our honourable gong scourers themselves removed innocent until proven guilty from the statute books. Trial by jury.
I have reformed the impartial and entirely independent Court of Star Chamber to prosecute them. They will be tried later this week and found guilty of all charges: inadequately representing their constituents, corruption in public office, and of dishonouring their duties.
Taken from this court by barge to the Tower, their heads stricken from their body, then parboiled and hung on a spike from London Bridge.
May God have mercy on their souls. While we mourn the passing of our glorious Queen, we do not suffer pain at the loss of our Prime Minister or equally corrupt cabinet. It is because of my undying love of all good British citizens that I am forced to take such drastic action. You do not deserve to have such treachery paid for with your taxes. And look at how they have laid waste to your toil and labours through their profligacy. They have robbed you blind again and again by perpetuating the myth of democracy against the tyranny of an incestuous two-party system which only ever delivers the same results.
Charlatans, prestidigitators, and perverted pecuniary villains.
The subdivision of our great kingdom, divide and conquer, the oldest trick in the book.
The theft of identity.
Henceforth, anybody that refers to our beloved Union Jack as the Union flag shall be hung, drawn, and quartered. Little John especially should know better. Environmentally friendly tanks, you have to be fucking joking. For those who might fear my actions, take note. If you have done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. In fact, for your genuine efforts and belief in a better world, I am here to deliver a new government of the people for the people.
Henceforth, no candidates may combine to form a political union.
Any evidence of this and all involved will be sent to Iceland to survey the northern reaches of our new empire for evidence of climate change.
Post-correctively, incentivized.
This formula is calculated by me to ensure once and for all British citizens have a representative with their best interests at heart. Your elected member will take a seat with me at the Great House of Easement. They will then communicate yours, the great populace's wishes, without the hindrance or let of party-based politics, cronyism, corruption, or graft. They will speak directly to me, words straight into your most benevolent king's ear.
An end to our glorious 5-year plans.
Any advisory member discovered to be dishonest in their official dealings, their political intent, or even their core message shall be dragged through the streets of their borough before being publicly sacked on the local common as evidence of what befalls the heinous and cowardly act of treason.
Beware of the Tower.
This is an exciting time for all honest, diligent, and hard-working citizens. Let us make our nation the greatest in the world. Join with me to make it so. I expect every man to do his duty.
My body is at the King's pleasure.
I bet your cunt doesn't get much use. Do not deflower virgins or violate widows. Loathe gluttony. Self-control is true power. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness.
In continuing good news, Diane von Furstenberg was appointed Chief Executive of the Commonwealth Council of Fashion Designers. The Design Piracy Act was ennobled in Harry's first binding ablution at the Great House of Easement.
The theft of ideas, concepts, and handbag designs is of immediate and genuine concern.
Somatic unit of the UK. Rule of the philosophers. Education of the philosophers.
How dare that deviant Bishop of Brussels refuse my gracious invitation to offer his oath of allegiance?
How could she sleep with him without contraceptive equipment?
Pavlovian conditioning? I summon them to answer the charge of high treason. Return if they dare. I guarantee a fair and just trial.
And when found guilty and determined to condemn?
They'll go before their maker in a very ill condition.
Sent to paradise for doing according to their perverted conscience? It is the law of nature and the will of man.
Repent your obstinate Republican opinions, and you may still taste my gracious pardon. Consider now the circumstances of the President's silence. Usurp the Magna Carta at your peril.
The illegal and improperly enacted Human Rights Act was revoked today as the Act in Restraint of Appeal was passed in another binding ablution.
On behalf of my people and loyal subjects, I hereby secede and rescind Britain's illegal obligations to the evil gross alliance, effective immediately.
Oxford University voted 23-27 in favour and, in a further victory for justice, forbade all appeals to foreign tribunals in all spiritual, revenue and testamentary cases.
Why finance fat French cows through a Gordian knot of libertarian free market fundamentalism and unregulated globalization when there are starving Africans?
Harry's innermost feelings of suffering make it possible for him to connect with his constituency of the rejected.
Laissez-faire capitalism has become a form of religion that impedes knowledge, fosters fear and dependency, and is responsible for much of the war, oppression, and misery that has beset the world. Not many seem to give a fuck, but I do.
In a New Deal, Jesse Jackson is leading the Commonwealth's multiracial poor people's crusade against poverty. Harry has generously handed him Britain's entire EU budget contribution.
The least I could do. A great society programme to end starving niggers in our time.
The power of philanthropy. In another New Deal, Bob Geldof had his fortune nationalised today. Change is upon us.
I have a dream that one day even Europe, a rotten state sweltering with the heat of injustice and oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and democracy. Free trade? We can only buy New Zealand butter because the murderous frogs with their ridiculous notion of cultural supremacy were busted blowing up Greenpeace. The 10 Commandments required a mere 300 words. The Magna Carta, 829 words. The EU regulations regarding the import of bananas, 26,900 words. It's madness. Now let me kiss those pretty ducks.
After the age of utopias came what we now call the false boom of the American age with their corrupted financial elements and zombie banks, profit and the common man.
The magic of the free market has moved us from public purpose and fairness. Individual wealth was the new world order. 500 billionaires have more wealth than the incomes of 1/2 of all the people on earth. This capitalist prison is neither just nor fair nor sustainable and is designed to brutally plunder the earth's resources for the benefit of a few very wealthy to squander on fanatical consumerism.
The rich and the polluters, the wealthy and well-connected.
Spending levels at previously unimaginable, never-ending limits. Deficits further over the horizon than we can see. Constant and increasingly significant redistribution of the world's income from wealth creators to state dependents.
The Great Slump has brought even more disillusionment than the war. Government takeover of parts of the economy, more regulation of every business.
A Marxist conspiracy to control us all. But I refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. I refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. We mean business now, and that's all this whole thing is about.
Living room war of the reunions, a golden age of peace and prosperity, the Commonwealth Unified Nations Treaty.
The days of confusion are over. I aim to restore liberty of conscience and promote both outward and inwardly godliness through England and our glorious Commonwealth. Africa, Australia, Asia, America, Antarctica are now united under international law by this act. I have personally inspected the Treasury and found what money, not wasted by our porcine parliamentarians, is left.
This money will create a new world currency order and create a new destiny for every person, irrespective of wealth or colour, class or belief.
We will derive strength and unity from our diversity. It will centralise Commonwealth rule to my court and cut back on the wasteless profligacy of cheaters and liars and thieves in our previously unrepresentative fascist governments. Nations now have 3 days to sign up to the treaty and receive £100 billion sterling in Commonwealth trade credits each, as a symbol of good faith and the goodwill of the Commonwealth Union.
The former British Protectorate Israel rejoined the illustrious Commonwealth today.
We have to be progressive. A solitary nation is a nation that has no influence whatsoever. We need strong diplomacy, a strong defence, and a strong Commonwealth. Israel's full participation cannot but strengthen the alliance further.
A space race will finish off the Americans for good.
Those that do not sign on and join the Commonwealth forthwith will be viewed with suspicion. The reunification of the world is imminent. You're either with us or against us. Ever got your pussy tickled?
It's a strange statement. We welcome back our old friends Egypt and the majestic self-advertising Suez.
Old Man Mo will sort out any problems.
Colonial Secretary Lord Al-Fayed was awarded the mandate for Palestine.
Friends, at last. As Commonwealth citizens, we are always seeking to take the lead in global affairs and by demonstrating initiative set an exemplar in modernity for the rest of the world.
Recent economic events have forced the Commonwealth Ratings Agency to downgrade the US dollar to peso lira status.
These are the unfortunate and embarrassing effects of the American debt debacle that has led to the central banks counterfeiting their own currencies. Paying our respects to the moonshine-running JFK, henceforth, we will cease trading immediately in these currencies, and in doing so end the reign of the overrated, privately owned and fraudulent Federal Reserve dollar. Our foresight, our honesty, our people, our natural resources, and the will of every Commonwealth state guarantees an intrinsic value to our currency unmatched by even the purest Keynesian gold.
As of today, we offer the lifeline of financial assistance to non-member African basket case nations struggling to help their people out of poverty.
As of today, our Latin American cousins enslaved by their dollar debt will be able to trade confidently with the Commonwealth and wipe clean their slate. Miss Venezuela can call for personal assistance. As of today, any non-member Commonwealth nation will be empowered by the opportunity to trade with a genuine currency, protected by an intrinsic value that cannot be distorted or corrupted by the abhorrence of a manipulative and deceitful financial market. Commonwealth citizens, this is a proud day for all of us. The dollar is dead.
My brother's ex-girlfriend, Russia's greatest love machine, was appointed to the royal court today. They dated briefly and shagged intensely. The sex was meaningless.
I must confess to rid myself of these evil toxins gushing through my veins. Just don't invoke or conjure another evil spirit, for I need a shower rub and some energy healing.
Harry today admitted he was behind the alleged terrorist attack that wiped out his family in a cunning coup d'etat.
I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault. It won't happen again.
Hear ye, hear ye. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. In more good news, Harry was awarded the Iron Lady, the Commonwealth's most prestigious award for his gallant heroics during the terrorist assassination of his family.
Now for my reward. A prize for amusing me with the best party piece. Please, anything, as long as it's not like the Special Olympics or something.
The most happy, Thomas and Alice attended the solidarity service of their humble and loyal daughter, Catherine of Middleton, the first of many.
I'm bored. It was no marriage. She was my brother's widow.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife.
Leviticus chapter 18, verse 16. Does a man need a commoner's poll or even the prince of darkness to tell him when he's sinned?
Cambridge University declared that it was against divine law for a man to marry his brother's widow.
It was a sin, I admit it. I repent. I was ungood. I have lived in incest with my brother's widow. I have no queen.
Harry's young, free and single and very much at liberty to enjoy himself, within reason. Many girls would consider him extremely eligible, and he's making the most of that. There are those who are asking, when will you be satisfied?
PC was right. I think his solution of marrying a girl from every country in the Commonwealth is the best one. A legacy of ginger heirs.
The king's a man of worldly conscience.
King of the world. I'll start alphabetically. Backwards, of course. Zimbabwe.
That woman is notorious.
Yes, I know.
God damn it, you're dangerous to know. Justice in our Commonwealth.
Parking inspectors on commission. Spy cameras in rubbish bins. On my nightly strolls through the streets of old London town, I, the people's king, have heard you speak. Kingy, you say unto me, Kingy, we want justice. So forthwith, I wish to address this most pressing issue.
There can be no mistakes this time. The law is not a tool.
The law is a causeway upon which, so long as he keeps to it, a citizen may walk safely. For some say justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. Imprisonment without trial and even examination under torture is common practice. England is no longer merry. Yet some say justice has not been seen to be done, thus we have failed as a society at what is just and proper. Satellite TVs and all mod cons for killers, paedophiles and perverts. Tens of thousands of taxpayers' money spent on a wellness day party. Slap up all-day barbecues with cake and games and a carnival atmosphere. Ah! Bring me my machine gun!
Broadmoor, home to the criminally insane, was royal pardoned.
Others seem to think that justice is to the advantage of the stronger, that laws are created with a motive to steal our liberty.
10,000 new laws in 10 years. Liberal democracy or police state?
They've made criminals of us all. What about universal rights and freedoms? The principles of dignity, fairness, and equality for everyone.
An Englishman and his castle.
Huff and puff. We're not even safe in our own home. Hundreds upon hundreds of powers, 500 and counting, to enter your house, to check if your pot plants have pests, your hedge is too high, to confiscate your fridge if it doesn't have the right energy rating, and yes, to photograph and seize your rubbish. Resist at your peril. Let me look you in the eye and tell you with my loyal heart that henceforth Commonwealth laws will be created to maintain equality and safeguard the good citizens' egalitarian and libertarian rights. The laws of our grand Commonwealth Union are to be written in the King's own English, and the Commonwealth shall educate all of its people to read those laws and to use their common sense to interpret them. The law of the Commonwealth is natural law.
There can be no challenges to the outcome of a Saturday game on Monday morning. The die has been cast. History has been recorded.
I, your king, makes laws to protect us all from evil. Those narrow-eyed, slippery practitioners that take the silver off Judas to challenge the law, challenge the very fabric of Commonwealth society.
Nothing but devilish troublemakers, the Downing Street property developers being a prime example.
The ancient Greeks invented democracy, and it was championed by the Commonwealth and its glorious empire until the corrupt governments of the 20th century eroded your civil rights with their neoliberal social democracy. We must reconnect with the fundamentals of democratic society. We must honor the democratic intent and legacies which rancorous and corrupt governments have sold cheaply to feather their own befouled nests.
No longer can the Bishop of Brussels force our police to arrest someone, even if they haven't committed an offence in this country.
Children recruited by councils as street scene champions, street hawks, and green inspectors. Exactly how Nazi Germany got started. Human kindness, discretion, and fair play are running scared. The moral might of our glorious Commonwealth collapsed to such an extent that when the tyrant Mugabe came to Europe, who did we send in support? One gay New Zealander. Terrific. And then what did we do when he got beaten up? Fuck all. How about a fair, just, and righteous way for all?
Enabling weakness, persuading reluctance, compelling unwillingness, seek, locate, destroy.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. Let freedom ring.
The theory and practice of oligarchical collectivism. Health and safety, quangos.
Don't get me started. Our lives taken over by a pandemic bureaucratic virus. For true servitude, you need a sophisticated society where no serious history is taught.
Decline of the polis.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender month for 9-year-olds. Parents threatened with prosecution if they object and withdraw their children. Romeo and Julian. The King and King. A fairy tale about a prince who turns down 3 princesses before finally falling in love with one of their brothers. Bring me Ed's balls.
The king was not best pleased, and the Great Purge continued when the ludicrous Secretary of State for Children resigned in disgrace. Promoting and protecting national traditions, virtues, and excellence often acts as a catalyst for facilitating debate and change.
Citizens, it is well known that the Commonwealth nations are friendly nations. I am, of course, talking about the Japanese refusal to put an end to their barbaric practice of whaling under the guise of scientific research perpetrated in international waters. As a result, we, the Commonwealth, must, as world leaders, intervene immediately to end this senseless slaughter of these magnificent mammals. Commonwealth scientists have themselves researched these majestic, intelligent, and gentle creatures and deemed them to be royal fishes, kings of the ocean.
Blessed are the whales.
I forthwith recognise their majesty and have so amended the 1324 treaty that grants them sovereignty of the Commonwealth oceans. I hereby anoint them as official ambassadors of the Commonwealth. Any attack on any whale of any species anywhere in the world shall now be regarded as an act of war against the Commonwealth.
All nations have been warned, including Norway and Iceland.
I suggest the short-ass karaoke singers of Hiroshima and Nagasaki think very carefully before ordering whale sashimi again. Not only will member nations Australia, Malaysia and Singapore cease exporting to Japan, but we will fast-track Korea's application to enter the Commonwealth.
Always anchor external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words.
We will fucking bury you!
We have no eternal allies and no perpetual enemies. A return to our glorious gunboat policy.
Wales, as esteemed ambassadors, have the freedoms of the oceans and shall feel confident knowing that the watchful eye and the strong arm of England will protect them against injustice and wrongful murder.
Pride of the Fleet, HMS Great Harry was relaunched as Rainbow Warrior 3 and is expected to be very effective with carte blanche to broadside thieving fish plunderers and despicable whale eaters.
As while Bill Clinton has said, up till now, only the whales have been feeling pain. Now we must kinda redistribute the pain. And anyway, I know about Wales. After all, my mother was Princess of Wales.
In tragic news, Prudence, the beached humpback, was harpooned by the Norwegians off the Scottish coast today. A message to the people of Norway?
Yeah, fuck off, Norway, common poachers.
After our glorious Operation Reverse Viking campaign, the Norwegian North Sea oil and sea reserves were victoriously nationalised in today's war reparations armistice. Justice and sexual re-education for all.
I'm going to tell you what my imagination tells me. Time to instigate the Royal Cunt Buster programme. Loyal subjects, together we agree that the importance of being a good citizen is paramount to the success of the Commonwealth.
Endless self-indulgence has led to an explosion in public violence and binge drinking.
Recently, I have held counsel with some of my subjects, and they have remarked that the youth of today show little
Artificial
respect.
amateurs, aren't it all amazing? Analytically, I assault, animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got the canopies collapsing. Detonate a diamond tank daily doing dope. Demonstrations, Don Dada on the down low. Eating other editors with each and every energetic epileptic episode, elevated etiquette. Furious, fat, fabulous, fantastic. Flurries of funk felt feeding the fanatics. Gift got great, global goods gone glorious. Getting godly in this game with the glorious. Hit 'em high, hella hype, historical. Hey, Holocaust hymns, hear 'em holler at your homeboy. Imitators idolize, I intimidate. In an instant, I'll rise in an irate state. Juiced on my jams like Jerry Curls, jocking joints justly. It's just me writing my journals. Kindly, I'm kindling all kinds of King Kong. Karate kick type Brits in my kingdom. Let me live a long life, lyrically lessons is learn, lame louses just lose to my leverage. My mind makes marvelous moves masters. Marvel and movement, he mock what I've mastered. Niggas nap knowing I'm nice naturally. Knack never lack, make noise nationally. Operation opposition off, not optional. Out of sight, out of mind, widening opticals, perfected poems. Powerful punchlines, pummeling, petty powder puffs in my primes. Quite quaint posts, keep quiet as quantum. Quarrelers ain't got a quarter of what we gotta. Really raw raps, rising up rapidly, riding the rushing radio activity. Super scientifical sound search sought. Silencing stupefied saps that are soft. Tails 10 times talented, too tough. Take that, challengers, get a tune up. Universal, unique, untouched, unadulterated, the raw, uncut. Verb by smart, victorious, valid. Violate vibes that are vain, make them vanish. While I'm all well, what a wise wordsmith. Just weaving up words, weeded up on my work shift. Xerox, my X-radiation glows, extra large, X-height letters, xylophone tones. Yellowback, yak mouth, young ones, y'all. Yesterday's lawn yard, sell I yawn. Zigzag zombie, zoom into the zenith. Zero wins and thoughts, overzealous rhymes, Z-lots.
Do you not wish to contribute constructively to the Commonwealth's national goals? Compulsory assignment to the Commonwealth Peace Corps, where students will have an invaluable opportunity to actively experience dysfunctional society firsthand on peacekeeping missions to the Congo, Rwanda, Somalia, the Sudan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Central America, the Middle East, and Manchester.
Tough on crime, tough on the causes of crime.
We have no room in our lives for idlers, wasters, thieves, villains and blackguards, and as a society we shall no longer tolerate them. Larasses and blubberworms showing a tendency to these traits will be dealt with immediately as I have outlined. Hey, straighten up! Whenever men and women straighten their backs up, they're going somewhere.
We implore all parents to discuss these new rules with their children and explain that your contribution to a better society is not just desired, but required by your king. The dialectical forms of government and the ideal state.
We must love honour without succumbing to a gilded desire for possession and wealth. Confusion between economic status and honour has led to an unjust environment that allows criminals and beggars to emerge. Our democratic demagogue was corrupted by power and taken over by a small entourage of hypocritical political elitists. All of this you probably know.
In other news, the fare-dodging former collector of revenues Red Ken is in dire need of a doctor.
IG Farben, the wondrous German chemical company, developed plans during World War II to fluoridate Nazi-occupied countries. CAF2 happens to be a very powerful sedative that damages specific parts of the brain and so causes exceptional docility towards authority. Within the last generation, the world's leaders have discovered that infant conditioning and narco-hypnosis are more efficient as instruments of control than clubs and prisons, and that their lust for power can be absolutely satisfied by suggesting people into loving their servitude as by flogging them and kicking them into obedience. Be under no illusions. They have been using the chemical kosh to drug fuck you all.
We have been the veterans of creative suffering. An end to pharmacological totalitarianism. Enlightenment through monastic communalism and a new Renaissance movement.
Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit paths of racial justice. A royal challenge to the peoples of all colours. England versus England. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of this moment. The race racketeer Trevitt Phillips confront a royal tournament. A 2-2 draw will demonstrate the complex unity of this fine land.
England beat England 3-0 in a thrilling match that escalated into racially aggravated crowd trouble at Wembley today.
Let me look you in the eye and tell you things aren't going so good. An end to hateful news. Bring me the most horrible, slimy, devious, conniving, duplicitous motherfucker in the kingdom.
Peter Mandelson was anointed Lord of the Bedchamber in the Great House of Easement today. Justice of the sophisticated. He's a raving poof.
Some people are attracted to donkeys. Hey, but that doesn't mean it's right.
The Court of Requests. The time has come for decent citizens to declare their allegiance.
I tell you, no monarch of England ever had, nor could ever have, so villainous a servant, nor so traitorous a subject as yourself.
When the likes of you are too tactful, the likes of me begin to wonder, who's the fool?
As I listened to Raffaella in her eloquent and generous introduction, and then thought about myself, I wondered, whom was she talking about? Thank you very kindly, people of the Commonwealth. It is with great pride I speak to you tonight. Something is happening in London. Something is happening in our world. But I know somehow that only when it is dark enough can you see that the skies are full of stars and wonder.
Somewhere out there in the dim light, in the distant reaches of our wonderful universe, reside our hopes and dreams for a better future.
Joy. Joy moves the wheels in the universal time machine. The very essence of these dreams is what marks the highest achievements of our great Commonwealth Union and what drives us onward to ever greater accomplishment, a quest for all that is good in the name of humanity. Tonight, my friends, the dream ends. Because tomorrow, all Commonwealth Hennines will awake to a brave new era where we will no longer be viewed by other nations as the world leader, but as the leaders of a new human species.
We announce ourselves confidently and proudly to our cosmic peers in the universe, be it organic or other, as the Commonwealth ambassadors of Earth.
To be sure, we are ahead of our competitors.
He knows a kind of physics that somehow doesn't relate to the trans physics that we know about.
Sir Patrick Moore himself has advised the journey will be long and dangerous, the expedition uncharted, and the challenges unprecedented. I will lead our brave Commonauts with Commander Rakesh Sharma as my wingman. Our glorious Commonauts will be the finest minds and fittest bodies from our League of Commonwealth, committed to our conquest and colonization of the universe. You will meet them soon.
We must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. The most important mission ever undertaken in the history of mankind and essential for the survival of our new species.
We cannot turn back, and I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, we have that wonderful spirit of endeavor, hunger for knowledge, and courage in the face of uncertainty to power our way through the stars to our lovely red cousin, Mars.
And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything.
I am not going to Mars to look for signs of alien life. I am going to Mars because I like to travel.
Something is happening in our world. I'm glad you didn't sneeze.
When the full rummer is going around, let the foam gush up to heaven. As your king, I now ask for those with me to stand and cheer. Our quest begins!